Feel Fantastic. This one first showed up on YouTube in the early 2000s. The video features an android-like mannequin named Tara singing the phrase "I feel fantastic" in a robotic voice while standing in various positions around a house. Then, halfway through the video, there's a quick outdoor shot, just a patch of dirt and trees, with no explanation. That's when the internet did what it does best: speculate wildly. One popular theory suggested that the creator of the video was actually a serial killer, and Tara's song was modeled after one of his victims. According to this version, the forest clip was supposedly the burial site, shown off like a twisted trophy. But again, reality is more mundane. The creator, John Bergeron, was just an early robotics enthusiast and performance artist. He created Tara as part of a project exploring artificial intelligence and human interaction. The video wasn't meant to be horrifying. It was experimental. The forest clip, just an attempt at visual variety. The serial killer angle was entirely made up, but it stuck because the video had the perfect ingredients: eerie visuals, cryptic content, and no clear explanation. Combine that with low video quality and early internet anonymity, and you get a recipe for viral horror. Rare rabies in a human. One of the most disturbing videos online doesn't come from a horror channel. It comes from a real hospital room. It shows a man suffering from an advanced rabies infection. Rabies is extremely rare in humans, but when it happens and symptoms show, survival is almost impossible. The infection attacks the brain and nervous system. Victims often experience hydrophobia, a fear of water. As you can see in the video, even swallowing becomes agonizing. The video exists for educational purposes and was never meant to go viral. History.exe. This video is heavily leaning into the found footage trope. We see an abandoned cabin in the woods and the whole thing is filmed in black and white with strange music. Eventually, the camera pans to some kind of deformed human or humanoid monster sitting on a wheelchair. It has an unnaturally large mouth, black eyes, and pale skin. The video is about God dying and Mother Nature giving birth to another deity that eventually gets killed by humans. The whole process is shown with disturbing pictures, but overall it's just a short horror movie. Lavender Town Syndrome. In the late 1990s, shortly after the release of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan, a disturbing rumor started spreading online. It claimed that a certain area in the game, Lavender Town, had caused dozens, even hundreds of children to fall ill or die by quitting real life. According to the legend, the original version of Lavender Town's music contained high-pitched tones that only children could hear. Some versions of the story went even further, claiming that hidden images or messages were embedded in the music, triggering self-quitting behavior when viewed for too long. It even went so far as to connect it to the infamous Unit 731, which was responsible for human experiments during the Second World War. The idea stuck thanks to the fact that Lavender Town is a pretty creepy place for Pokemon. It's the place in the game where players encounter a literal Pokemon graveyard and other weird shit. But the truth? There's no record, police report, news article, or verifiable case linking any deaths to the game's music. Not in Japan, not anywhere. The entire story was, as always, a creepypasta. Body of a pig. This video shows a group of friends visiting a lost place. There they all hear a strange sound, which turns out to be a ghost's attempt to communicate with them. The voice says, "I have the body of a pig." They even managed to capture some kind of demon on camera, which supposedly was the creature talking to them. Some say it's just another scary YouTube video. Others claim that they captured a real demon on camera. Poco Poco shopping. At first, it just looks like two slightly scary-looking puppets host their own teleshopping show. But as the video progresses, the whole scene becomes more and more disturbed. The set begins to burn, organs are scattered throughout the room, and teddies get cut open to show realistic innards. Overall, not really the type of video you should show to your kid. Mariana Mordiad Gleskov. This one is a real classic YouTube mystery. The video shows a man with a red filter just staring into the camera. Eerie music plays in the background, and even upon watching for the first time, most people feel quite uncomfortable. However, the real disturbing part is the story behind the video. It is said that this clip is haunted, causing anyone who sees it to have vivid nightmares and panic attacks. According to some forums, several people even scratched out their eyes or decided to quit their life after watching this video. Of course, there is no way to prove any of these claims. Grandma's Coffin. The full title is My Dead Grandma's Coffin in My Own Backyard. You can see a man opening a casket and filming what appears to be his grandma's rotting corpse. The guy even proceeds to kiss her on the mouth several times. He also claims that she died 8 years before he was born and that he just craved to meet her. But once again, I don't think this one is real. Elsagate. A few years back, there was a series of YouTube channels making videos specifically for children. Actors in Spider-Man and Elsa costumes harmed each other, animated characters brutally fought, and eventually something much more evil. At some point, some of these videos showed kids getting hurt for the sake of views. Only when big influencers and media outlets reported on this issue did YouTube ban these channels. Japanese McDonald's commercial. The general consensus on the internet is that this commercial was produced by someone completely unrelated to McDonald's. I know, shocking. Japan has a rich history of making iconic horror content, so most people categorize this video as a form of webcore or weirdcore. It's intentionally nonsensical, made to disturb or confuse the viewer. Think of it like internet abstract art. So this video is probably just a mix of weirdcore and childhood nostalgia. Gateway of the Mind. This video is connected to a creepypasta similarity named Gateway of the Mind. The story is about an experiment conducted back in the 1980s by an unknown group of scientists. Their hypothesis was that if you strip a human of all his senses, he would be able to communicate with God. As such, the video shows them severing an elderly man's sensory nerves in the brain. As the days went on, things took a dark turn. He claimed that he could hear his dead wife speaking to him, as well as demons and the devils whispering in his ear. The story ends with him tearing out his own heart to silence the voices. The Russian sleep experiment. The story goes like this. In the late 1940s, Russian researchers decided to test a new gas that could keep people awake for extended periods. They sealed 5 prisoners in a chamber and pumped in the stimulant gas. At first, everything was fine. The subjects talked to each other, told secrets, whispered into the microphones. But as the days dragged on, things took a dark turn. The test subjects tore apart the books they'd been given, smeared the pages on the walls using bodily fluids, and eventually, according to the story, mutilated themselves and each other in horrifying ways. By the time the researchers entered the room, the survivors had reportedly ripped out organs, refused anesthesia, and begged to be put back on the gas. Sounds terrifying and completely fake. This story first appeared on a website dedicated to creepypastas. There are no official records, no documents, and definitely no scientific reason to believe any of it happened. What made the myth stick was a creepy black and white image often shared with it, a pale, eyeless humanoid figure with a twisted grin. That photo wasn't from any real experiment either. It's a prop from a Halloween attraction. Daisy Brown. In 2017, a YouTube channel appeared under the name Daisy Brown. In her videos, Daisy was raising a creature named Alan. It looked like an alien puppet with human-like features, and Daisy treated it like her child. She'd feed it, read to it, and sometimes argue with it. But as the videos continued, Alan began to abuse and even attack Daisy, leaving her with bruises and trauma. However, the story does have a happy ending, as Daisy eventually defeats Alan and leaves the house. Smile Dog. The story goes like this. There's a cursed image floating around the internet called smile.jpg. It shows a dog kind of like a husky, with human teeth and an unsettling grin. Behind it is a dark room, and sometimes you can make out a bloody hand or a demonic shadow in the background. The myth says that if you see this image, especially at night, it'll haunt you. Victims reportedly experience vivid nightmares, hallucinations, and eventually go insane or die by quitting in real life. The only way to escape the curse? Share the image with someone else. Basically, it was the first digital chain letter with a horrifying JPEG instead of bad luck. Momo. In 2018, Momo was tied to an internet challenge where it was claimed that the creature would appear in children's YouTube videos or through messaging apps, encouraging kids to harm themselves or others. People genuinely believed that Momo was infiltrating devices and brainwashing children. But here's the truth. There was no verified case of any Momo challenge causing real harm. The panic was driven by rumors, viral posts, and media exaggeration. Additionally, Momo wasn't from some ancient cursed scroll or hidden part of the dark web. It came from a sculpture. The original image was actually a piece of art called Mother Bird, created by Japanese artist Keisuke Aisawa for a horror exhibition. It was never meant to be part of an internet panic. The artist ended up destroying the sculpture as a symbol. Pete the Meat Puppet. This is basically the most unhinged take on Pinocchio ever conceived. A female butcher desires to have a child and constructs a puppet boy made of raw meat. Pete comes to life, ventures out into the world, becomes famous, and eventually loses everything. It's actually quite the good story, but Pete's disturbing look made this one a YouTube horror classic. Don't open your eyes. This tape starts with Russian and English text, warning the viewer to not open your eyes. The video starts with a skinny zombie walking towards the camera, underlaid with sounds from hell. But then the video changes its POV. We now see a monster killing a family from our own perspective. The video is also filled with shortcuts of scary scenes, making the whole thing incredibly haunting to look at. My house walkthrough. On October 16th, 2016, a video tour of a house in Japan arrived on YouTube. At first, this video's only creepiness comes from the old rundown house. But if you dive deeper into it, a horror story emerges. Several times, the person talks about typhoons, a disastrous weather phenomenon that plagues Japan to this day. A common theory is that this video tells the story of a family that was trapped in their home during a typhoon and ended up dying there. Some even say that the cameraman is supposed to be one of the spirits, forced to wander the wet, collapsed ruins of the house where he and his family met their end. Jeff the Killer. The photo alone became an icon, a blurry, pale face with an unnatural grin and deep, black eyes, and it's honestly more disturbing than the story itself. The story tells of a teenage boy named Jeff who, after a violent confrontation with bullies and a disastrous chemical burn, slowly loses his sanity. He carves a permanent smile into his face, burns off his eyelids so he can never stop staring, and becomes a deranged murderer who appears in bedrooms at night. The origin of the image is a mess of rumors and accusations. Some say it was just a heavily edited photo of a real person. There are even people who say the original image was just a badly lit photo from a makeup test gone wrong. As for the story, it's pure fiction. Jeff the Killer started on Creepypasta forums and spread thanks to fan-made videos, dramatic readings, and cheap horror games. Username 666. According to one of the earliest YouTube legends, there once existed a haunted and forbidden channel. In order to access it, you would have to refresh YouTube as often as possible at around midnight. With every refresh, the website would become more disturbing, getting colored with blood and video titles making no sense anymore. And then you would finally reach a channel page by the name User666. This channel was supposedly packed with disturbing and haunted videos, but the whole thing was completely made up. Blank Room Soup. A man sits in a white windowless room, crying while eating from a bowl of soup. Standing next to him are two people or creatures in giant black and white mascot costumes. They gently pat his back and appear to comfort him. Some believed it was footage of an actual kidnapping or torture session. Others even go so far as to claim that the soup was made from the man's wife. Hey Walter, I have got a new girlfriend today. This video is only 56 seconds long and was uploaded in 2012. It starts with a man excitedly talking to the camera about his new girlfriend, acting awkward but upbeat. Then the video cuts to what looks like a basement where a woman is seen tied up and screaming. After that, it abruptly ends. People online connected the video to a known kidnapping case, thinking that the two women looked alike. Authorities reportedly investigated but found no connection to any real crime. PettyTube. Unlike the others on this list, PettyTube isn't a single video, it's a website. PettyTube plays YouTube videos that have basically 0 views. Every time you click, you're watching something no one else has seen. And sometimes people apparently saw disturbing stuff, sometimes even gore videos, that shouldn't even be on the platform. Daisy Leaves. This is just one of the many scary videos uploaded to Robert Helpman's YouTube channel. What seems to be a human body is wrapped in a trash bag and is showcased in different spots and poses. Then, in the last episode, the body finally vanishes. Many people believed that this body was real and that a real psychopath was behind this channel. Others say that it's just another art project about the topic of death and letting go. I Am Your Grandma. One of my favorite scary videos on YouTube. It was made by a young singer, Jillian Mayer, who made this video for her future grandkids, fearing that she would die before meeting them. She puts on creepy masks and sings a song about how she is their grandmother and that she loves them. Might seem weird at first, but in the end it's just a heartwarming idea to leave something behind for your grandkids. CE 444565. Uploaded to YouTube about 12 years ago, it shows a video supposedly made by a cult. Satanic rituals and symbols are shown while a voice explains that the world will soon end and will get recycled. The only way to survive this great recycling is to leave the world together with the cult. This is obviously a hint towards famous alien death cults luring people with similar concepts. It is not known if this was a hoax or a real attempt by some secret cult to reach new potential members. 112 Dirtbag. This video is called Happy Anniversary and is allegedly connected to a missing persons case. The old man in this video is just laughing and winking at the camera before finally wishing the viewer a happy anniversary. Many speculate that this video is connected to Maura Murray, who vanished on Route 112 after having a car crash and leaving her wrecked car to get help. This video was uploaded exactly 8 years after she vanished, and the username 112dirtbag could be making fun of the case. Maura's father called the kidnappers dirtbags during a public interview, and the 112 is of course a nudge towards Route 112, where she went missing. Investigators found the man but came to the conclusion that he was not involved in Maura's disappearance. He is most likely just a scumbag mocking a missing girl and her father. The Grifter. The video shows a man breaking into a house at night. We eventually reach a crib with a baby laying inside it, and the home invader decides to kidnap the child. Many people believe that this was a real kidnapping case, but the YouTuber Scare Theater debunked the whole thing. He showed that nearly every scene in this video was taken from other scary YouTube videos, edited together to create this new narrative. Teddy has an operation. As the name suggests, it features a teddy going to the doctor because he feels sick. At first, everything seems normal, and the teddy is stuffed with sprinkles and the usual filling. But as the doctor cuts deeper, the teddy begins to bleed, and a set of human organs is revealed, turning the whole thing into body horror. Real Demons Caught on Tape. Released in January 2009, this video basically became the mother of analog horror. The whole thing is bizarre, ranging from the footage itself to the weirdly written description. In the video itself, we basically walk through a haunted house with many hands growing from the walls and ceiling and trying to capture the cameraman. Next to nothing is known about the origin of this video. Tyler's Last Words. Released in 2011, the video features a young man singing a song he wrote for his dead wife. This man is named Tyler and is sitting in a dimly lit room, but the whole thing could be wholesome if it wasn't for the ending. As his song ends, he pulls out a gun and brings it to his head, and the video ends. There was much speculation if this was a real person trying to quit, but in reality the guy is still alive and even still making music. Kuyang Dayak. We see a weird human head with long hair, but the problem is that it's missing a body. This thing is locked in a cage and seems to be a living head capable of moving around. According to the comments, what we see here is a Kuyang, a creature capable of severing his head from the body. The head and its attached organs can live on their own and hunt children to feed on them. Aside from that scary legend, there is really no info about this video. White House. Why You Never Became a Dancer. A scary woman with black eyes and a wide smile, moving her mouth to the background music. This video was actually produced under the genre of power electronics and is the band's answer to another song called Why I Never Became a Dancer. Girl Goes Psycho during makeup tutorial. In this video, a beauty YouTuber does a standard makeup tutorial. Then a strange video appears on her screen, showing a dark room. The woman suddenly goes crazy and begins to smash her head on the table until she falls backwards while bleeding. Video dating tape. We are looking at an old VHS tape showing a man trying to create a dating tape. He explains who he is, what he likes, his hobbies, and so on and so on. At some point, you can hear a woman screaming in the background, and the man gets visibly nervous. The situation continues until the guy even screams at the woman off screen. Some people believe that this video showed a real serial kidnapper, but since the man is a British actor, this is not very likely. Poochie and Pansy. At first glance, this video is just about two small dogs trying to save a kitten from a witch. What makes this one weird is that it regularly cuts away to far darker and disturbing images. Several different monsters, a dark cellar, and a strange guy with a mask. One of many video series meant to creep out the viewer with the stark contrast between the two styles. Flying Girl in Russian Woods. A Russian man is walking his dog through the forest when suddenly he sees a little girl and what seems to be her grandma or mother. The little girl is levitating above the ground, and when the two notice the man, she quickly descends to the ground and then runs away. It basically looks like the man caught a girl training her supernatural powers. Adaram, Pretty Woman. The man called Mr. Bizarre is trying to sing the song Pretty Woman, and so far that's nothing special. What makes this clip scary in hindsight is that he was arrested for being a sex offender and was legally banned from using the internet. Still, he got himself a computer only to produce strange videos like this one. Pretty Woman probably being his way of mocking his former victims. Benjamin Bennett. Benjamin is famous for his video series titled Sitting and Smiling. And that's what he does. He sits there and holds eye contact with the camera. It's only in part 5 that things get weird. Around the 2-hour mark, we can hear a burglar breaking into his home, but Bennett just continues staring at the camera until the burglar leaves. Cicada 3301. In 2012, internet users around the world noticed a strange image posted on 4chan. The image contained hidden codes. Solving the first one led to a series of cryptographic puzzles involving ancient literature, digital steganography, obscure websites, and even real-life GPS coordinates that pointed to posters physically placed in cities across multiple continents. The people who followed the trail needed advanced knowledge of programming, philosophy, history, and mathematics. Then in 2013, it happened again. A second puzzle appeared, same with 2014. But after that, Cicada went silent. To this day, no one knows for sure who was behind it. Theories range from an elite hacker collective to a recruitment campaign by the NSA to a digital art project. The messages sent by the creator at least hinted towards a group caring about privacy and online security. Some successful people said they solved the puzzle and were contacted privately, but officially it didn't lead to much else. Either they were told to keep quiet, or the whole thing fizzled out. Unlike most internet myths, Cicada is real. The mystery isn't whether it happened, but why it happened, and who was behind it. Don't hug me, I'm scared. Everyone knows this legendary YouTube series. When it first came out, no one had any idea what it was. It just seemed like some sort of kids' TV show that always ended with a brutal or disturbing twist. The whole story behind it is too long to explain here, but I highly recommend checking out the whole thing for some weird shit and great songs. Salad Fingers. When Salad Fingers first appeared in 2004, it didn't look like anything else on the internet. It's about a thin, green man who likes rusty spoons and lives in a bleak, post-apocalyptic world with his finger puppets. What makes Salad Fingers disturbing isn't gore or jump scares, it's the tone. Everything is off. The music is warped, the pacing is awkward, and scenes hang just a little too long. Created by David Firth, the series is meant to be a surreal horror experience. Firth has said that Salad Fingers represents trauma, loneliness, and mental illness. WebDriver Torso. Back in 2013, a strange YouTube channel started uploading thousands of videos. Each one was almost identical, blue and red rectangles moving across a white screen, accompanied by beeping noises. The titles were random strings of letters and numbers. Some said it was an AI test. Others thought it was sending coded messages to spies. Some even believed it was an alien communication system hidden in plain sight. Over 77,000 videos appeared, but eventually the mystery was solved. WebDriver Torso turned out to be a test channel operated by Google, used to measure video quality across different resolutions and upload conditions. Candle Cove. This may have been a TV show that supposedly aired in the early 1970s. The story began on an internet forum where users claimed to remember a creepy, low-budget puppet show with unsettling characters and a pirate theme. Eventually, the twist came. One user said they asked their mother about the show, and she told them, "You just stared at static for 30 minutes. That's when everyone realizes, maybe the show never existed. Maybe they were just staring at a dead channel, imagining it together. Or maybe something else was using the static to reach them." Candle Cove became one of the most famous internet horror stories ever. It was so influential, it was later adapted into an actual TV show. but the original version was just people pretending to remember something that never existed. Thanks for watching. See the video on your screen? Well, YouTube thinks this one might interest you as well, so go ahead and check it out if you like.